that we keep it simple, nothing more than passing time. No need to read between the lines, no need to cross that line.
You laughed and I agreed, like it was easy to pretend that we were only here for now, not something we'd extend.
But something in the quiet started changing what we knew. In every little moment I was leaning into you. We didn't mean to fall this way, didn't plan to feel this close. It just happened in between all the things we never chose. Now I don't know where to stand or how to let it be. We didn't mean to fall at all, but you keep falling into me. We kept it light, or so we thought, just words that didn't stay. But every time you looked at me, it gave too much away. You said it wasn't anything, I said I felt the same. But every silence after that was louder than we claimed. I tried to hold a distance, like we said we always would, but something in the way you stayed didn't feel misunderstood. We didn't mean to fall this far, didn't think we'd lose control. But somewhere in the in-between, you found your way into my soul. Now every step feels different from everything we knew. We didn't mean to fall this way, but I keep falling into you. If we could go back to the start, would we still pretend again? Or would we let it fall apart and call it what it is? 'Cause every line we tried to draw is fading into you, and everything we said before no longer feels like truth. We didn't mean to fall this way, but maybe we both knew in every word we didn't say there was something pulling through. Now I don't wanna stop it or try to make it small. We didn't mean to fall in love, but we were never not at all. Stood where branches barely move, petals falling out of time. You said something I almost heard, but let it pass me by. There was color in the air, like a moment meant to stay, but something held us just apart, and we let it drift away. I felt it in the space we kept, in everything we didn't say, like something close to happening but slipping every day. We were almost in bloom, right before it turned to spring, close enough to feel the warmth but not enough to begin. I didn't try to reach for you, and you didn't ask me to. We were almost something real, but never follow through. We were almost something real, but never follow through. walked along the empty path where sunlight brushed the ground, your shadow almost touching mine, but never quite around. You turned as if to say my name, then changed your mind instead. And all the words we could have said stayed somewhere left unsaid. I thought we'd find a way somehow between the lines we drew, but every step we didn't take led me away from you. We were almost in bloom, like a spring that came too soon, fading just before it grew underneath the quiet moon. I didn't try to hold you there, and you just let me go. We were almost something more, but never let it show. If I could go back to that day, I wonder what I'd do. Stronger than what's real, and all the things we didn't choose are all I seem to feel. We were almost in bloom, but the season passed us by, left a trace of something soft and never said goodbye. I don't need to change a thing or ask what could have been. We were almost in bloom, and maybe that's enough to live in. Ooh. I saw you where the sunlight stayed on a quiet street mid-afternoon. You laughed like nothing had to change, like time was slower next to you. And I don't know what pulled me in, maybe the way you said my name, or how the air felt different then, like something softer found its place. And I didn't mean to fall this way, but everything began to shift in the smallest things you did. You felt like April in my hands, warm enough to make me stay. Every little moment passed like it was meant to feel this way. I didn't need to understand why my heart was leaning in. You were something I can't plan, like the spring I found within. We walked until the sky turned gold, didn't notice hours slip away. You told me things you never told anyone before that day. And in between the words you said, there was something I could feel, like every silence we had shared was quietly becoming real. I was trying not to lose my ground, but you were everywhere I turned, in every breath, in every sound. You felt like April in my hands, soft enough to make me stay. Every second that we had felt too close to drift away. I didn't want to overthink all the ways this could begin. You were more than I could keep, like the spring I felt within. If I could pause it here somehow, keep the light just where it is, before we learn what happens now, before we turn into felt like April in my hands.
Fleeting, but I held it close.
Every memory we had
Still lingers like a ghost. I never got to understand why it came and left so soon. But you will always be the spring that found me in the bloom.
You were sitting by the window with the morning drifting in. Light was resting on your shoulder like it always had been.
You didn't seem to notice how it stayed on you that way.
But something in that moment
Made me want to stay.
and I
Don't know what changed or why it felt so clear. But everything was softer when you were right here.
There was sunlight on your shoulder, falling quiet, warm and slow. And I couldn't help but wonder if you felt it like I know. I didn't say a single word, didn't try to make it last. But something in that golden light made me wish this wouldn't pass.
We stayed there without a plan, letting hours fade away. Shadows moved across the floor like they didn't need to stay. You turned slightly toward the light, it followed where you leaned, and I held that quiet frame like a place I'd always been. I thought about reaching out, but I kept my hands at bay. Some things feel more real when you let them stay. There was sunlight on your shoulder, shifting slowly as you moved. Every second held together like a scene we never chose. I didn't try to hold it still or turn it into more, but something in that gentle glow stayed with me before. Now the light feels different here, even when it's just the same. I still see you in that place every time it finds your name. And I don't know if you recall that quiet morning air, but I still see the way it felt across your shoulder there. There was sunlight on your shoulder and it never really left. Even now it lingers softly in the moments that I kept. I didn't need to say it then or try to make it true, 'cause everything I felt that day was already held in you. We met when winter hadn't left, a trace of cold still in the air. You smiled like something new had come before I knew when you were there.
The days grew softer as we walked through streets that slowly came alive, and every step I took with you felt like a reason to arrive.
I didn't notice time at all until it slipped between our hands like something we could almost hold, but never truly planned. Every moment felt so easy, like it was meant to be. I didn't think about tomorrow, didn't question where it goes. I was living in the warmth of something only we could know. We sat where sunlight touched the floor and let the quiet fill the room. You leaned your head against the wall like time had nothing left to prove. In the space between our words there was a feeling growing slow, like something neither of us said, but somehow both of us would know.
I thought the days would always stay,
Just like the way they felt back then.
but even light begins to
Fade, no matter where it's been. When spring stayed a little longer, I believed it wouldn't end. Every second felt like forever, every moment heaven sent. I didn't try to hold it tighter, didn't see it drifting on. I was caught inside the season, not knowing it'd be gone. Now the air feels different here, like something slowly moved away. And I still see you everywhere, in everything I used to stay. If I could go back to that time, I wouldn't change a single thing, just to feel that quiet light of you and me in spring. When spring stayed a little longer, it was more than just a phase. It was you and all the moments that still linger in my days. I don't need to ask what happened, know where all of it has gone, 'cause a part of me is still there, where that spring goes on and on.
If we were walking down that quiet road where the trees are falling light, you didn't notice anything, just laughing at the sky.
A breeze came through and brushed you close, something caught up in your hair. A little piece of spring had stayed and you didn't know it was there. I almost reached to take it out, but I just let it stay, 'cause somehow in that moment it felt better that way. There were petals in your hair, like the season chose you first, soft and careless in the air, like a quiet kind of burst. I didn't say a single word, didn't want to break it there, but I knew I remember you
With those petals in your hair. You sat beneath the fading light as the sky turned into gold.
You brushed it back without a thought, like nothing to hold.
And I watched it fall so quietly, drifting somewhere out of sight, like a moment slipping past into the edge of night. I thought about just calling
exactly as they play. There were petals in your hair, even when they slipped away. Still they lingered in the air, like they didn't wanna fade. I didn't try to make it last, or hold you in that frame, but something in that fleeting scene would never be the same. If I could go back to that day, I wouldn't change a thing. Not a word, not a breath, not the way you didn't see. 'Cause sometimes all it ever takes is just a passing glance to turn a quiet afternoon into a lasting chance. There were petals in your hair, though they're gone, I still recall how the sunlight caught you there, like you held it all. I never told you what I saw, or how it stayed with me, but you'll always be that spring in a moment I can't leave.
It started like any other day, coffee getting cold in my hand, nothing really on my mind, just passing time like I had planned. And you walked in without a sound, like you belonged there all along. Something shifted in the air, but I couldn't tell what felt so wrong. Maybe it was just a glance, or how you didn't look away. Something in the way you stood made the ordinary change. The way you walked into my day, like it was always meant to be. Nothing loud, nothing to say, but something changed in me. I didn't know what I should do, or why it felt so new, but everything felt different from the moment I saw you. We didn't say much after that, just small talk drifting in between. But every pause felt filled somehow, like more than what it seemed. You reached for something on the shelf, I moved aside without a word. And in that quiet little space, there was something I had heard. I tried to keep it casual, like nothing really moved. But in the smallest moments there, I felt something improve. The way you walked into my day turned everything to shade more bright. Nothing changed, but not the same, in a quiet kind of light. I didn't try to make it last, or understand it through, but something stayed inside of me from the moment I met you. And maybe we'll just pass again, like strangers in a line. Or maybe something small will grow without a reason why. I don't need to know it now, where this might all go, but I remember how it felt, more than you could know. The way you walked into my day still lingers in the air. Not a word
but something that was there. I didn't need a reason why or something I could prove. It was just the way you came and how it slowly moved.
You never said it out loud, but I could hear it in your tone, in the way you stayed a little longer when I thought I'd be alone.
You never reached for my hand, but you are close enough, like there was something in between that didn't need to be touched.
And I don't know when it started or how it came to be, but it's in the space between our words. It's in the way you look at me. It's a quiet kind of love, nothing we have to say, just a feeling in the air that doesn't fade away. No promises, no plans, no need to understand. It's a quiet kind of love, and somehow it still stands. We never named what this could be.
I tried to draw a line,
But every time you turn to leave,
you linger just a while.
you never asked me how I felt,
But you already knew.
in all the ways we didn't speak.
It was always coming through. I thought it might just disappear if I said it out loud, but something in the quiet here feels stronger without it. It's a quiet kind of love, growing slowly over time, in the silence that we keep, in the way our worlds align. No need to make it real, no need to make it known. It's a quiet kind of love that somehow feels like home. If we never say the words, would it still be enough? If we never make it clear, will we still call it love? Maybe not everything needs a name or a sign. Maybe what we have right now is already the right kind. It's a quiet kind of love, soft enough to let it be, not something we hold too tight, but something we can feel. I don't need to ask you why or where this all will go. It's a quiet kind of love, and somehow we both know. You sat across the wooden table, light falling softly on your face. Didn't say much, but it was enough. silence never felt out of place. Your fingers traced the edge of your cup like you were lost in something small. And I kept watching, not too long, afraid to break it all. There was something I couldn't name in the way you looked at me, like a moment we shouldn't claim but didn't wanna leave. There's a soft light between us now, not too bright but hard to miss. In the quiet, in the doubt, there's something more than this. I don't know where it leads us to, or if it's meant to last, but I feel it when I'm with you, like a moment I can't pass. We stayed until the cafe closed, neither one of us in a rush. The night leaned gently on our words, everything felt light but much. You brushed the dust off your sleeve like you were buying time to stay. And I wondered if you felt it too, or if it would fade away. I didn't want to say too much, afraid it might disappear, but in every little touch you were already here. There's a soft light between us now, closer than it was before. In the spaces, in the sound, I can feel it even more. I don't know what we should call this, or if it needs a name, but something slowly pulling us into the same frame. If we leave it as it is, would it stay this way? Not too close, not too far, just enough to stay. Or would time begin to move like it always does, turning quiet into words and words into it was. There's a soft light between us still, even if it fades away. In the quiet, in the still, it finds a way to stay. I don't need to hold it tight or try to make it last. It was enough to feel that light while it slowly passed. The air was softer back then, like I knew we'd meet that day. Every corner held a light that didn't seem to fade away. You walked beside me slowly, like there was no place to go. And in that quiet kind of time, I felt something I didn't know. I didn't think to hold it close or wonder what it meant. It felt like something passing by, too easy to prevent. You were the season that felt like you, warm and gone too soon. Something I could never keep but always carry through. I didn't try to understand or ask for something new. You were just the kind of time that felt like only you. We stayed until the sky grew dim, colors fading into blue. You said things I still recall but never held on to. And in the space between goodbye and what we didn't say, I felt the moment slipping out like it couldn't stay. I thought it might come back again, like seasons always do. But some things only pass you once and never follow through. You were the season that felt like you, soft and hard to hold, something that I never knew would leave me in the cold. I didn't try to change a thing or make it something true. You were just a fleeting warmth that felt like only you. Now every time the air turns warm, I think of where you've been. And every light that softly falls, I see you there again. And I don't need to ask you why or wonder where it went. Some things are only meant to stay, and how they came and went. You were the season that felt like you, and maybe that's enough. A moment I can still recall but never quite touch. I didn't need to keep it close or make it something new. You were just a passing time that felt like only